Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Mouse Minds. We are, of course, live for you, like we are every Tuesday at 8:30 on YouTube, Facebook, all kinds of places, and we'll add more soon. I am joined by a special guest this week, which we'll get to in just a second here. But of course, we always have our most amazing cast with us this week. The fantabulous, most amazing person ever, Lisa, is in the building.
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you.
And then there's Michael.
And then there's Michael.
No, I'm kidding. Michael is just as great as well. And Luella will be joining us at some point. We don't know when that is. She's currently stuck in LA traffic. So we don't know how long that'll take. But she will join us when she can. No rush on that. But we are here live. Now I want to introduce our special guest. And then we'll kind of go into things a little bit. This guest is someone that I've known for a while. We've done multiple shows together. But he is actually coming to us live from Alaska, Skagway, Alaska, to be exact. Which, as I found out in my research, is a very historic gold rush town. So lots of interesting things to see there, and he's going to be talking to us about Skagway Tours. Skagway Tours is an excellent tour company. They provide tours throughout Skagway and kind of show you the history and everything else. And he's going to tell us a little bit more about that in a second here. We're going to go ahead and get into that. So I'd like to introduce, and then we'll get into your segment in just a second here. I want to do a trip report before we go into that segment. But a quick trip report, like 5 minutes. I want to thank Chad Ridge for being here this evening.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Well, it is a pleasure to have you here on the show with us here, and we're excited to have you on to talk about Alaska and all the amazing things to do up there. Because one of the things that myself working in the hospitality industry, the cruise that I probably get asked about the most when people talk to me about cruises, guests, just tourists, and so on and so forth, is Alaskan cruises. It's very popular right now, and rightfully so. It's very beautiful out there, and the Skagway Tours there, they actually will go ahead, or Beyond Skagway Tours. Let me get that correct. I apologize, Chad. They actually go ahead and they are available with multiple cruise lines to come out there. More importantly, you can purchase directly, and once you get off, purchase directly through Beyond Skagway Tours and go and have a tour with them when you get off your Disney cruise in Alaska. So we'll talk about that in just a second here. But before we do that, I had to do a quick trip report from my most recent day at Volcano Bay. And I'm going to say something that makes me cringe when I say it, but it's just something that hasn't been on my radar. I don't even know how we got to this point, but I have never been to Volcano Bay. And that's right, I said that I have never been to Volcano Bay.
Never.
This was my first time. I had been offered multiple times many years ago when it opened. I was offered, and I don't even know why I turned it down, but I did at the time. I just couldn't find the time to go, and I had a universal pass at the time. I could have gone. I don't know why I didn't go. I think it was because family life and all that stuff gets in the way sometimes, even when you live not too far from the parks. But that being said, it was my first trip, and Luella has joined us here. Hello, Luella.
Hi. Sorry I'm late.
No,
I live in
you're
LA.
perfect. We already informed them, and much sympathy was given.
I didn't want to miss this though, because I'm going on Alaska cruise next year.
Well, we are excited. This is going to be a good show. Now, I just wanted, like I said, I was starting to say, I wanted to give a quick trip report about my most recent trip to Volcano Bay because it was my first trip to Volcano Bay, and I didn't post out on media because I'm kind of embarrassed that I haven't been yet, because it's been here for how long, and I had plenty of opportunity to go. I don't know why it never happened, but I can honestly tell you, without fear of contradiction, as they say, that Volcano Bay, out of all the water parks that I've ever been to, including Disney water parks and water parks across the country and even around the world, that Volcano Bay is hands down the best water park that I have been. There is so many reasons why that is, but they have, I think, strictly just based off of the theming and the general feel of the water park. It's just it's fantastic, and they put a lot of thought into, I really appreciate. This is the first time that I've actually used a virtual queue inside a park that I actually enjoyed. And Volcano Bay does a virtual queue. They give you a what they call it, a tapu wristband, which you tap into all of the attractions that you want to ride, and it of course counts you down on your watch when you can go to that attraction. It was an amazing device. Everything worked flawlessly. I did have to wait a while to get on the main attraction, which is the water coaster inside the park. But I think I wound up waiting like something like 3 or 4 hours total for that. But I wasn't waiting in line. I was waiting, in the lazy river, in the wave pool, in the other pools. I was going on other attractions that didn't have a wait. So there was a lot to do, even though I had to wait for that attraction. So I was not upset at that in the slightest. But I will say, I don't know how many of you in here have been to Disney water parks recently, but I really feel like they are lacking in a sense that, they haven't really been updated in a long time. They're always refurbished and cleaned up and made to look nice, but we don't really get any new attractions. I don't even know the last time we got a new slide or anything at Blizzard Beach. So, I know that Volcano Bay is, they haven't really done too much to their park either, but regardless, it's still the experience. It just felt much better, newer slides, so on and so forth. Now, if they put more investments into it, that'll make it a slam dunk for me. I know they have to compete with, you know, Disney, which honestly, I, I mean, I get why people go to Typhoon Lagoon because it's there. It's a part of their Disney vacation, but compared to the other water parks in the area, especially Aquatica, because Aquatica tries really hard. I mean, they add new slides. It seems like every year there's a new water slide. So, and the theming is I mean, pretty amazing. I mean, it's not as good as I'd say a Volcano Bay or like a Typhoon Lagoon, but it's fairly close. So, it'll be interesting to see, what they do in the future with that park. But my trip review for that, and I also had an amazing meal at the Feasting Frog, but in the back of the park. But my final trip report is amazing water park, just over the top, had a blast, plenty of chairs to sit in. I spent time lounging. They actually have a pool, which is the most amazing thing. Most of the water parks that I've been to, they'll have a wave pool and a lazy river, but they don't actually have just a pool. And Volcano Bay actually has a pool that overlooks. It has like an infinity edge and overlooks the wave pool and the volcano and everything else, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. I wish I had a picture up here to show you guys on the live stream, but I really didn't take any pictures inside the park. I took like one or two, because I always feel weird doing that at water parks. Um, but yeah, it was amazing. It was a fantastic experience, and I cannot wait to go back. And I'm going to spend a lot of time there this summer cooling off. So, and then of course, on top of that, once you leave there, then you can obviously go to Universal or Islands if you want to in the night or whatever else. And also, I will add two last things before I finish up, and I'll let, if you guys want to comment, you can. Number one, cleanest locker rooms out of any water park in Orlando. And as someone who has been to water parks his whole life, living in Orlando, Wet and Wild, Water Mania, if you remember that one, that has always been Aquatica. That has always been a thing. Like the locker rooms, there's water all over the floor. They're just kind of gross. And this was actually super clean. The floors were consistently mopped. There was no water on the floors. It was clean. It felt very sanitary. The showers were very clean. So that is a huge, huge, huge win because I can honestly tell you that growing up, some of those water park locker rooms were pretty scary. And, there's a few times I left with athlete's foot or something crazy. I'm not gonna lie, that real truth, this has happened, from
Yikes.
walking on the floors barefoot. Yeah, so it was not a good experience, but Volcano Bay is fantastic. Disney does a pretty good job too. Sometimes it can get a little dirty, but they do a pretty good job, and Aquatica does a great job as well. So they do a pretty good job. And then last, I'll say, the transportation to get to Volcano Bay can be a little interesting because it's different. You have to park at the parking garage and then take a bus over to the park. Now they have a special road that the bus travels on. It's like a direct route to the park, but you can't park at the water park itself and then actually go to the park. You have to park at the parking garage, the main parking garage. Then you have to, they have buses there waiting to take you over. But I can honestly tell you that my biggest fear was at the end of the day, it being a complete nightmare to get out of, and there just being long waits to get to the bus. And honestly, I think it took me 15 minutes to get from the park to from when I got in line at the park to get back to my car. So it was very efficient. They've got it down to a science. So if you are in the area and you're considering going to Volcano Bay, please do. You can make a day out of it. I'm actually looking myself at possibly getting a room at the end of the month at Cabana Bay just to have that direct access because Cabana Bay connects directly to um, Volcano Bay. So I'm looking at that myself because I want to spend a weekend there and kind of have that direct access. That would be awesome just to be able to walk back to my room right there. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, that's my condensed trip report on Volcano Bay. I just had to get that out for everybody. I know we were talking about Universal last week, and we'll go on. Does anybody have any comments or anything that they want to add to that before I move on to Chad? I can't hear you, Michael.
Yeah, I got it. So what are the
Okay.
hours that they're operating under right now? Because it seems like Universal is
Mhm.
they're still closing up a bit early compared to other theme parks.
So Universal typically during the week will close at 8 or 9. Islands are Universal. That's typically what their hours are. Usually one park is open later than the other. Usually Islands is open till 9 and Universal is open till 8. The Volcano Bay is open 9 to 7, which is actually better because most of the water parks in Orlando close at 5 o'clock.
Right.
So you get an extra 2 hours there. The thing I will tell you, speaking of hours, you want to get there early because you want to secure yourself a chair. That was the hardest part of my day because I'm kind of burnt a little bit, sunburnt, even though I sunscreen pretty heavily. Because the only chair that I could find was one that did not have an umbrella over it, and when I did want to, I just basically had to sit out in the sun. So it really I didn't have a choice because I got there I think at noon, and it wasn't there was nothing to be had. I walked all over the park looking for anything, and I basically had to take what I could get, which was kind of in the back. But it was okay. I mean, the seats are fine. They have a lot of seating. It's just some are covered and some are not covered. And if I had some shade, I would have been a lot better off. So get there early because if you get there early, then you can get a spot right next to the wave pool and the pool and just go in and out. And I'll be honest with you, I felt safe leaving my bag and stuff at the chair itself. Most people did the same thing. They have lockers provided if you want that. So, but yeah, it was an amazing experience.
I just remember when they built it, the whole big draw was the volcano itself and the
Mhm.
lights, the lava. If you close at 5 before it gets dark, I guess you'll lose all those effects.
Well, not necessarily true because so they have 2 lazy rivers there. They have one that goes through the volcano, like inside the volcano, and it's actually very pretty because when you're inside the volcano, They have like LED lights in the ceiling. Think of like the old Epcot LEDs on the in the ground in front of Interventions, and they do like light shows in the ceiling, and it looks like stars, and it's kind of like backlit in there, and it looks really pretty in there.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
then yeah, and then they have another wave pool, which actually was probably my favorite thing the whole day that I did at that park. Um, Water parks now are starting to come out with these sort of rapid infused lazy rivers where you wear a life vest and then you just float and they go really fast. They go a lot faster than the lazy river. Volcano Bay has that, but theirs is kicked up a notch because halfway through, when you get like halfway through the lazy river, there's a wave machine. It literally, like at any second, will just shoot a wave out, and you'll just be sitting there floating, and then this wave will just come and smash you in the back. It sounds horrible, but it was like a lot of fun because stuff just kept happening. The first time I rode it, I kept hitting rapids. There was all kinds of craziness just going on all around me, and it was awesome. It was just fun, and everyone else is, in the life vest. They're floating with you. There's no tubes in this one. Everybody's running into each other. Everybody's like apologizing, like I'm so sorry, but no one has control. It's just utter craziness. So it was actually really fun. And then of course you can walk into the volcano as well, and there's a show inside there where the volcano like talks to you, and there's like a pathway through the volcano that's really dark, and it has some lights in it and water fountains and all kinds of stuff. So I mean, you really have to walk around, but the landscaping in that park is just so beautiful. There's palm trees everywhere. I mean, it looked like if you took a picture of like Kona, like the Big Island, and put it, like next to a picture of Volcano Bay. I mean, I think it would look pretty close.
We're fans of Volcano Bay. Like when we have tickets, oftentimes we go there first and then it parks later. But you do like we have kind of a general spot that we typically sit in on the beach under under the umbrellas. So like that's a very good tip to get there early, stake out your
Yeah.
spot, and that way you can avoid the sunburn.
Now you've been there you've been there many times, so you know what I'm talking about with what is it, Tiwa, the Fearless River. You've been in
Yeah,
that.
well, there it's so much more than just your regular water park. That's what I mean. That's why we went day after day. Plus, my son just said there were cute girls there too. I wasn't there for that, but that's what he just he just said that.
Well,
So, but he, even as a teenager, he thoroughly enjoyed it. So, you, he says,
yeah,
who, who?
I'll say one last thing too to your point, because I do want to get to Chad, because I want to devote a lot of time to him, but um, the another advantage to getting there early is getting the big attractions out of the way. When I got there at noon, that's the reason why I had to wait 4 hours for the Krakatoa, which is the water coaster at the park. Now, out of all the rides there, it's really the only one that I had to do, so I didn't mind waiting. But if I would have gotten there earlier, say when the park opened, I could have tapped my band, got to that attraction, maybe waited an hour, and then I would have been free the whole day to really ride whatever I want. And to be quite honest with you, if I would have gotten there early, I could have gotten everything in the park done, and probably like 4 or 5 hours, I think, because most of the attractions had like a 30 to an hour wait. Um, the the bigger slides, the one in the volcano that goes straight, the tube slide that drops you. That one had a little bit of a longer wait, but everything else was about 30 minutes to an hour. So you can get through it fairly quickly, and then just spend the rest of the day in the lazy river or the wave pool, or even just the pool, floating or just having snacks or whatever you want to do. So, but there's a lot to do there. All right. So that being said, we are going to go into we're going to talk to Chad here. Now, me and Chad have done tons of shows together. We've talked about Chad is also a big, he's from the area, from Florida. Uh, he's from the area, been in Orlando forever as well, so he knows all about the parks and everything else as well. But he's up in Alaska now, with Beyond Skagway Tours. So Chad, why don't you take it away and tell us a little bit about Skagway and Beyond Skagway Tours and kind of kick us off here.
Well, thank you for that introduction. And I'm kind of jealous of you right now being over there at Volcano Bay because it's definitely been a little chilly here. But no, like you said, I am a Florida boy. I love what's going on in the theme parks right now, especially getting ready for Epic Universe. And you find me when I'm not in Alaska, definitely all around all the theme parks in Orlando. My wife and I have adventures with Mary and Chad. It's more Facebook based and that kind of stuff. As you know, Robert, but a lot of your listeners don't know, I've lost over 300 pounds. I had gastric sleeve surgery and love the theme parks. And sometimes things just don't work right for us bigger people. So I like to just challenge people to go out and still have that awesome adventure, but not be held back by a disability or your size. And that's a big thing right now with the new DAS Pass. And that's a whole different story that we could get on. But right now I am celebrating
That's a whole
my
nother
50th
episode.
birthday on Friday, the day this comes out live. I'm celebrating my 50th birthday here in Skagway, Alaska, and I'm working for Beyond Skagway Tours. So I am so excited. And I chose to come up this summer because I was here a couple of years ago in 2018, prior to the pandemic and all that, and fell in love with this small town. There's so many stories. And at the time, they were only getting about 3 ships a day. They were getting about 6,000 people in, but the cruise ships were pushing them because people loved this port. And as we know, the cruise ships got bigger during the pandemic and more people wanted to travel. Less people are traveling to Orlando and more people are doing family cruises. And so this year we have a record number of cruise ships coming in. We're averaging 4 ships a day. That's the most our little port can handle. But a lot of those ships are mega ships. So we're talking those bigger Oasis class ships. And of course, the Disney Wonder is here every other Thursday. And we love it. But it went from about 4,000 to 6,000 people a day to about 12,000 to 15,000 people a day. So big changes for a small town. But there is a need for lots of family fun. The unique thing about Skagway that I love to tell people is my wife and I, we are pretty much platinum or diamond member on every cruise line that's out there. And so we cruise all the time. Skagway is totally
Humble
different
brag there. Total humble
I'm sorry.
brag.
Yeah. What can I
I love
it.
No, I love that. I think it's awesome.
Living in Florida does have its perks. When you could cruise for $1,000 in an owner suite on MSC Cruise Lines, we did it. But so I look at this as a passenger, but also as somebody who's here in Skagway. And the unique thing about Skagway that is unlike any place else in the country is our port is the port for the cruise lines. They're here the most time that you're in Alaska. If you look at your itinerary, you're going to spend an evening in Juneau if you're on the Disney Wonder. You get there in the afternoon and you have to be back on the ship by 10 o'clock. What can you really do with kids or even as a couple really quickly in the evening? It's really tough. If you end up in Haines, you got a few hours in the morning to go there. So it's a really tough place where here in Skagway, you're here no later than 7:30 in the morning. And the earliest cruise ship departs here, and it's not Disney. One of the ships does leave at 5:30 in the afternoon. The rest of the ships are leaving between 6 and 11 o'clock at night. And all of the tours, any of the bus tours, any of the tours that you take going to the Yukon, going to see puppies, doing any of that stuff, everybody uses the same route in and out of town to get to Canada. Again, we tell everybody, bring your passport. Bring your passport. Canadian officials here will not accept a driver's license and your birth certificate to get into Canada. You have to have a passport. If your kids are under 12, you can bring a birth certificate. That's the only difference to that. If you don't have biological parents traveling, you need to have a letter certified. Get that little stamp on it so that your kids can get it out. You should have that before you get on the cruise anyway, but a lot of people don't realize that. But
So let me
that
do this.
being sorry?
Before I don't mean to cut you off here because I'm just curious now because you piqued my interest here. So you're saying to get into Canada. So you guys are right on the border there. Do you have to go into Canada to really see everything or?
So with our company, what's really cool about us is we are a private tour. You're not going on a bus with a bunch of people. You can bring your friends with you. A matter of fact, I've got a Disney cruise this week that it's 27 people. So we've got 3 vehicles going, and last week, the last time Disney Wonder was here, it was a big group, and guess who they put all the kids with? Yeah, me. The other driver had the adults. They had the adult tour. I had the kids tour. But no, if you don't have the credentials to get into Canada, that's fine. We can show you so much just around our little town. You can do a half-day tour. You can do a full-day tour. We even do picnics. We arrange for food for you, all those things. But the best sightseeing to me is actually going out to the Yukon. And that's where you're going to see possible bears and goats and animals. You're going to learn about the culture. If you want to go pet real dogs, I'll give you a little hint. A lot of people lease dogs. Oh, that was yesterday. Isn't that unbearable?
I
You guys
get
want
it.
good jokes? Come and see me about 45 minutes. I won't be here.
Get to tip your wait staff on the way out.
But we're seeing all kinds of wildlife, and really the Yukon is the place to go. But to answer the question, if you don't have those credentials, you can't get them. That's fine. We will customize the tour to you. We're one of the only companies in Skagway that actually you can add on for like $5 a scavenger hunt for the kids. So as we're going to certain locations, I tell a story, and the kids have to find something, and then they get a little treasure, and then at the end, everybody gets a little prize. So, it's those little things, and it's not just Disney people. I mean, everybody loves what we do because we cater to so many people. For the adults here, we actually have breweries and distilleries and stuff like that. So we customize. Meg in the office, she loves talking to people, and she loves finding out what people love, and she's passionate about it. And then she kind of customized the tour for those people. What's even more unique is you find yourself. Was it Luella that's going on the Disney cruise or going on the cruise?
Yes, I'm going next year.
So when you're booking your cruise, once it's time for you to get in there and book your excursions, one of the top excursions to book out here is the train.
Yes.
And the train is actually, we are a small town, so what they do is they actually hold some tickets back for smaller companies like us. So what that allows us to do is, instead of taking a whole day or spending a lot of money on that train excursion for your family, you can book through us. We don't charge you an up price on the charge. We charge you what they charge us for tickets, which is a group rate, basically. And what we suggest is that you do either the early, depending on your family. This is where it little depends. You can either do the train in the afternoon, or you can do the train in the morning. If you guys are early risers, especially you're coming from LA, but like Robert coming from Florida, if you were coming over, you guys are going to be up early anyway. We ask you to be off the boat as soon as possible. We get you because that train leaves at 7:55 in the morning. How beautiful to wake up, be in Alaska, get on a train, go up the mountainside, and then go up into Canada. Once you get there, I'm sitting there waiting for you. I picked you up, I dropped you off, I'm picking you up in Canada, and then we continue on for the day where maybe you want to go play with some puppies and learn about what the mushers do from a real musher, not somebody who's borrowing dogs from somebody. We have Michelle, who actually has competed in the Iditarod and actually won the Yukon Quest, which is the Canadian version of the Iditarod. And to see her puppies and play with these puppies, I actually had an 82-year-old man yesterday laying on the ground with puppies just pig piled. Imagine the memories that made for that family. So, and that's what this is about. And I, when I was talking to the girls this evening before I came on with you guys, they're like, Chad, please don't just make this about our company. But when you see people that are true Alaskan people who truly love what they do and they've created this experience for people, and they're not Disney people. This isn't Hoop-de-Doo Review or Disney-esque. It's Alaskan people who created something for people who come here to really learn about what it's really like here. It was easy for me to adapt to because I am Disney trained, I'm theme park trained, and I love the stories. But it's very important that we go back to the community because there's a lot of small businesses like ours that are here that offer really great tours like this. And I know I kind of go all over the place. I'm sorry, guys. I just get so excited because it's such a beautiful town here, and we all work together. We just hired a local high school kid to mow the lawn, and we can leave the lawnmower out here, nobody steals it. He knows right where the lawnmower is, and he just came over and does the lawn. But there's a lot of really small business here. I say, unfortunately, there is real estate being taken up by Effie and Diamonds International and all that. But most of the stores here are small, little mom and pop stores. There's a new little store. It's Naughty something or other like that, but it's a little pretzel store. And all I can think about is it's grandma with her granddaughters, and they run a little pretzel store, and they've got pretzel bites and pretzel pizza, and it's the cutest thing. But these kids are making money, and they're 12, 13 years old, and they're just out there selling their pretzels, and it's just an awesome place. Everybody talks about diversity, but Skagway is one of the most diverse places I've ever visited. Being in Orlando during everything that happened in Pulse, and to know how everybody kind of banded together. It's Pride Week here. We've already had a huge Pride Festival. We had a Pride Bike Parade. I might even be dressing up in a Disney costume myself for Pride this week. So you just never know. But it's so open here and so friendly. And, we stop and wave at each other. Everybody knows each other. Skagway in the winter only has about 400 people that live here. In the summer, we have over 1,400 people that come and support the economy, to support the staff that comes here. So we are going through a housing shortage right now. That's kind of crazy, but there's so much to see and do here. If you don't want to spend a penny when you get off the cruise ship, because some people don't, we are a national historical location that is managed by the National Parks Association. They have a great little Gold Rush museum. They have a walking path. They've got 5 or 6 free talking points that you can go out at certain times of the day and learn about different historical locations. You can walk if you want. You can take the shuttle for $3 out to the cemetery, which is where one of our famous banditos, Soapy Smith, is buried. You can go into William Moore's home. William Moore founded this area before the Gold Rush. You can, we've got a beautiful park. We've got playgrounds. We've got actually 2 playgrounds, one at our school and one right downtown on 6th Avenue. So when you're with the kids, if you want to go for a free hike, there's actually a really cool hike for kids. It's about, for adults, it's probably a half-hour hike. I'd take an hour for the kids. I wouldn't take anybody too young on it, but you got some younger kids that they just want to go for a walk. Grab a couple of waters and walk up the hill and take a look at Lower Dewey. This town has just got so much going on. So as much as we do like going out into the Yukon and taking people, it's also lots of fun just to stay in town too. So there's a lot to do. And of course, if you like to shop, there's lots of shopping. But we've got a great town. But Beyond Skagway Tours really specializes and customizes those private experiences for you. And the owner, Becky, also she's going to shoot me for saying this, but she also does vow renewals. And imagine being in a beautiful field with a waterfall behind you doing a vow renewal. So something like that, you know, those special moments, or a picnic. You want a private picnic with the one you love, or the kids just for photos. We can arrange for it. So, you know, there's so much, the sky's the limit. You know, you don't necessarily have to go on this long trip out of town. Just to have some real magic here in Alaska.
And I'm really glad you mentioned all the local stuff, because I'm a huge proponent of traveling and taking in the local towns. You know, I was out in Memphis, and they said, "Do you want to go to Graceland?" Or, "Hey, the state fair is on." I'm like, "I'm going to the state fair." You know, I'd rather go where the locals are. I'd rather see the small towns and check out the cemeteries, as opposed to the big stuff that probably do that somewhere else. I mean, yeah, you take one day to do a nice excursion, you take in some of the nature, but a lot of times the local shops are where it's at. So thanks.
And not only that, there's also a thing, especially with I do a very similar when I travel, but there's also this thing, seeing how people live in that part of the world. You know, even just going to the grocery store can be an experience. You know, just seeing what's in their grocery store. You know, I remember going into, when I was in Canada and Whistler, and going into the grocery store and you know, seeing all the smoked salmon and everything else, and I was like, oh, this is amazing, you know. So those little things really kind of add to the experience when you're traveling. So I totally agree.
Robert, I do the same thing. I mean, you go to that cereal aisle in all these foreign places, and it's a whole different world.
It's funny that you guys say that, because that's definitely even part of our tour, which we explain that our grocery store is literally only 5 aisles long. It actually, Big Blogger was here, one of the first cruises, and they get 1 container a week for groceries. And in the winter, it's a lot smaller delivery, of course, than it is in the summer when we have all these people here. So I got here May 3rd, and they were supposed to have gotten their first delivery the week before me for their summer, to build up for the summer rations. And there was a blogger, and they came in just before me, and there was literally nothing on the shelves, because they is that a little better, Robert?
A little bit. There's still it's fine. I mean, I can edit out. It's just when you're talking, I hear that like static. I don't know if anybody else can hear it, but you're in Alaska, so the fact that you're even communicating with us is, to me, is amazing. So
it's perfect. So but like our grocery store literally had nothing in it. The shelves were empty, and all of the employees are coming, you know, and they had nothing. And then for 2 weeks, the weather was too bad, so they couldn't get a delivery to us because the ferry had to cancel. So our poor town had no groceries, and the next closest grocery store is either we have to fly things in from Juneau, which is very expensive, or we have to go 2 hours away to Whitehorse, Canada. But then you have to be careful what you bring back into the country. But crazy enough, all the local businesses, all the local restaurants, everybody who had extra food in their freezers started making stuff and making things available. And we got through it. And then the grocery store got 2 back-to-back huge deliveries, and everything is safe and back to normal. But those are the things that happen. And those are the stories I love to share with people, that, you know, like that. And all the small little businesses that are here are just so amazing. And whether it's a real jeweler who actually, you know, handcrafts everything, it's not from that they bring in on an airplane from someplace else, or our little hardware store that carries everything that you can imagine, because that's what you need. And if you can't get it, then it takes them a month for them to get it, but they'll order it for you. Amazon, by the way, Prime, 2 weeks.
Oh.
So, but there's so many great little success stories here. And, you know, we've got a great little community. This year, we actually had 6 kids graduate from high school, which was kind of cool to talk about that, show the kids the high school. Everybody wants to know how much snow we get here. They only get about 21 inches of snow a year because it's in a rainforest. But one thing that is unique, once you get over the pass, they have feet and feet and feet and feet of snow. So it's really cool to see how the progression and everything goes. And that's another reason why we go out. But one thing that we do, and I wanted to touch on this, Robert, and Michael, to really address Michael's point. When we take you up into Canada, we stop in a place called Carcross Canada. That's where a lot of the tours come, but they go to this big place where they can park all the big buses, and they've got fake sheep sitting up on the hill, and it's kind of corny, and you get an all-you-can-eat buffet of chicken and beans. We actually take you to real Carcross, the real town of Carcross that only has about 200 residents in it. And it's all what they call First Nation people. That's what they want to be called, is the First Nation. So Indian, local indigenous people. And we take you to a little shop that they've created, and it's a little outdoor area, and each one has their own shop. And unlike going to Bahamas and Jamaica and all these crazy places, they do want you to come in, but it's more important for them to become friends and show you what they do than it is to sell you something. And right now there's a woman who's making these beautiful vests and tribal clothing. Last weekend was actually the tribal graduation. So here they actually have a regular high school graduation, but then the tribes all come together in Whitehorse, but each community celebrates their seniors, and they have their own special ceremony in their town, and then they all come together and celebrate the youth for their graduation and their graduation into life, which is really awesome to learn about. That's something I never knew, and to be able to learn about that, it gives me goosebumps just talking about it, because when you hear these people's stories, and that's the thing I miss from some of the theme parks, is we used to get the story. We used to hear people's story. We used to feel that connection. And the connection that you feel here, when you get off the boat and you see the mountains, you smell the air, and then you start meeting the people and you walk out into the community. It's just beautiful.
Now, one of the things that I wanted to do here with you, Chad, is you sent me a bunch of photos here, and I wanted to kind of put them up on the screen and kind of get you to give me a caption of each photo. Now, I'm going to describe it just because for our podcast listeners, obviously they can't see this. So we're going to go into the theater of the mind mode. But right here, the first photo, which I put it up earlier, which you commented on, we have this amazing picture of a big old black bear just running through the forest. It's like real life country bear jamboree, minus the instruments and the non-politically correct jokes. So we're going to and blood on the saddle. There's no blood on the saddle here.
No.
Now, this bear that we're looking at here, we could definitely call him Big Al. He kind of looks like Big Al. But tell me what's going on here, and then we have another bear picture I'll throw up. And of course, if you guys want to see this is going to be on YouTube, and all our shows that we record live are always on YouTube. You can come back later and watch them and see the photos yourself. But for those of you listening, I'll describe what I can here.
So this is a beautiful black bear, and we were driving along the road, and we saw this black bear, and he actually started a little ways down the road, and the people thought that I had this bear trained. He comes out of the woods, and I see him, so I slow down and I kind of stop, and he stands up on his legs and he scratches his back. And right now, bears are actively coming out of hibernation, so the first thing they're looking for is dandelions and food. And he's eating those dandelions, and the next thing you know, he grabs a mouthful of dandelions and he rolls over on his back, and he's just like blah, 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 eating these dang dandelions. And we sat there. Now, this is safety note here. If you rent a car, if you're on a tour and your tour guide says get out of the vehicle, do not get out of your vehicle when you're around animals.
I also want it to be known too, for those of you that are listening to the show, Chad did actually get on his back when he said that rah rah rah, that he actually did with the bear. He recreated the scene.
Absolutely. But no, we have a problem with that. We're asked to nicely remind people to stay in their cars. And please even try to keep the windows open. I know that your first reaction is, oh, I want to see a bear. I want to touch a bear. But these animals are real live animals.
They have sharp claws. All right, so let's go into this next one here. So we have a beautiful picturesque scene between two mountains with what appears to be a big lake in between there. Describe to me what I'm looking at here.
Can you say Bob Ross? That is
Absolutely.
actually Lake Tagish, which is over 100 miles long. And it's the mountains that you see up there actually were mined for ore and silver and all of that. And actually stuff was shipped down to the lake and then brought to Carcross, where it was put on a train and either brought back to the United States or taken into Canada. And it's just a beautiful overlook. There's lots of little overlooks like that. We actually have access to a private beach where we can take you down to the beach and you can throw rocks. Oh, there's another stunning view. Actually, this one, you can actually see the beach that we go to there in that little corner there for those of you that are watching on YouTube. Right now it's just so beautiful to see the mountains like that.
And for those of you that are not watching on YouTube, just imagine, I mean, we're looking at, for those of you in America, it looks like something like the Rocky Mountains or something. Very, very, I mean, at least to me. And then of course there's a little bit of sand in the far left-hand corner, right by the lake there, and that's the beach that he's talking about. So you have this beautiful lake, you have the happy little trees, you have the happy sky, all the Bob Ross to the max, and then you have that little tiny beach off into the corner there, and that's what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, let's move on to this one here. Now this appears to be the back of the train, the caboose.
So that is the back of the train. If you're lucky enough to get on the back of the train, you can actually get out of the train when it's moving and go on to the vestibule and take pictures. Again, community is everything here. They actually have a community ride, and we were invited, and we ended up in the back car. And to look out of this train, and Robert, you know that I used to live on a train, so I can tell you that these were some of the most beautiful views that we ever saw. And people ask me which is better, the morning train or the afternoon train. To me, the only correct answer for that is if you're a morning person, I like to get it done and then be able to spend the rest of the afternoon doing things. If you have smaller kids, you might have a problem getting them up, feeding them and all that. That's okay. Do the afternoon train. We can cover the time and fix it. You'll still get the chance to do things, but you'll still get on the train. And they both offer different views. Sometimes in the morning, it's a little foggy and a little mysterious, but you still see the waterfalls and it's beautiful. And then sometimes in the afternoon, it's raining, but then there's sometimes where it's just beautiful all day long. So there's no right or wrong. You know your families as you're coming to travel. If you're morning people, keep in mind, if you're coming from the East Coast, it's a 4-hour difference. I've been here for a month and I'm still stuck on East Coast time. And it's also bright all the time here. That's a whole other story. But
yes,
and
we forgot that we didn't talk about summer solstice.
And if you are booking, we suggest that you book sooner rather than later. But you can do like the day before. If we have availability, you can book like the day before. But we prefer like a week out just so we can get everything in the system, make sure we've got everybody together. This it's like anything, planning. Just give us a call. We'll even if you just ask some questions before you even decide to book. We always encourage you to call, and you can go to beyondskagwaytours.com at any time to look at all of our different options too.
Now let me pull up some other photos here. Now, I don't know what's going on in this one here. It appears to be one of your crewmates or someone on the dock with wearing Mickey ears. For those you see the beautiful.
We snuck in, yes. So, for those of you that didn't know, we had a little bit of a dock problem here, and so they were rebuilding our dock. And the Disney cruise ship was the second ship to dock at our brand new dock, and some of our amazing dock workers here in Longshoremen donned some Mickey Mouse ears to welcome the wonder to port on its first day here in Alaska for this season. So we all get in the Disney spirit.
I even see here it looks like you have your own. What we're looking at here is it looks like a tour sign for them to pick up the tours, but it also has corkboard on it, so it's like your own personal pin trading station. Is what it looks like to
Is,
me.
and you know my pin trading vest. I forgot my pin trading vest, and I was going to take a bunch of pins on it and put it on the ears. So I need to order some pins and get some pins on there. I actually had some set out that were really cool from like Japan and Paris and stuff like that. And I love, again, the idea of pin trading came from a place of it's about interacting with our guests and interacting with people. And if we just put aside everything else in the world and just interact with one another, I think that we'd be in a much better place. And so to me, having something like this to interact with our guests, whether they're booking on a tour with me or not, it's something that the kids and the families, they feel, oh, cool.
Yeah.
So my friend Savino, who used to work here for years, he's actually in the parks all the time. He's a great performer in a lot of great shows in the parks. He and his wife made that for me, knowing that I was going to come up here, and I think it's a great little welcome to Skagway sign.
So we've got 2 more photos here that I want to go on now.
Okay.
Number 1 here, we're going to show this photo. It looks to be downtown Skagway. Is that what we're looking at here? Beautiful.
That's it. That's the shot that you get when you get off the ship. Now that's looking away from the ship. Everybody likes to turn the picture around
beautiful
and get the picture of the ship. But
so we're looking at, so just to describe for those of you watching here before Chad gets into it here, we're looking at the beautiful downtown skyline, you know, your typical small town America, you know, downtown, beautiful older buildings that have been rejuvenated with shops and beautiful mountain scenery back there. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, you're selling me. I mean, I think I'm going to go on the cruise with Luella now.
that's awesome. We'd love to have you. And, you know, that's the one thing I'm really trying to increase is having folks like yourselves come to Alaska and really just experience it because it sells itself. The town has one person who's in charge of tourism for the town, and you know, she knows to talk about the train. She really doesn't know what else to talk about because the town doesn't like to talk about itself. It really is that small town. But when folks like y'all come, our mutual friend Beatrice came here a few years ago, and she just fell in love with our town. We're constantly talking about Alaska, and I'm sending her pictures all the time now. What did you see today, Chad? Well, here's what I saw.
So we're going to show one last photo here, and I think this is one that people think of most, or maybe I'm mistaken, but people think a lot of or associate a lot with Alaska here, and it is the world famous Alaskan king crab leg. So tell me why you sent me this photo. Why was this one important to you?
It's actually very important to me. First of all, I can't finish all that food, and you know that, Robert. This is almost a 1 pound crab leg. We are Alaska is the home of the red king crabs, the big crab legs. That's also a 1 pound steak. The picture doesn't do it justice. That thing is literally like almost 2 feet long. Again, the cruise ships go to a lot of different places. They go to Haines, they go to Juneau, they go to these places, but there's really not enough time to get a really good taste of Skagway or taste of Alaska. If you go to Juneau, there's a place in Juneau that's known for their crab legs. It's family style. It's always an hour-long wait. Who wants to wait in line for an hour with their kids, especially since you eat on a cruise ship? But if you have that hankering to try something local, we've got lots of great places. One of my favorite places is a small place called Fish Co. If you're parked right near what they call the railroad dock, it's the dock that's right against the mountain. It's literally right there, but a lot of people don't go there because in any other port, it would be a touristy place. I can tell you that a pound of crab leg right now in any other port and any place else is going for about $75 to $78 for one of those big legs. That's a big difference than shrimp or lobster or anything else, but look at how they have to catch them. That meal that is right there is $61. It includes a crab leg and a steak and mashed potatoes. You could literally split that portion between everybody, or two to three people, depending on their appetites, and still experience a great Alaskan food. And there's lots of restaurants here that have that. We have a local brewery, Klondike. They started up 8 years ago. Some phenomenal beer. Can you buy it anyplace else in the world? Nope. They refuse to distribute. They want to stay local. They want you to come back here and try it. And being a guy that runs a craft brewery tour in Tampa, I can tell you that their beverages are right on and really good. Spruce tip beer, Christmas tree beer, I call it, because spruce tip is Christmas trees. Unique flavor. Gotta try it. And it's a little local place, and so you're not going to get something that's much fresher than that.
It's fantastic. I'm super excited. I'd like to check out your website. I was just curious. So with your company, is it something where we talk and then we build up the tour, or is it pretty much like set up already?
So we have the outline of all of our tours. So we have a day long, and then we have different names. So basically, if you came and you said, "Hey, my kids really," let me back up a little bit. All of our tours, if you were to do a day long tour, the basic tour basically is we pick you up and we take you up over the mountain. We take you into the Yukon, take you to Carcross, Emerald Lake, and the desert. There's a desert in Canada. Build the suspense there for you. But then if you want to add things on, like the train or puppies, we've got something called the Natural Suspension Bridge, which is really unique. It's a bridge, and it tells you about how the travelers travel. Really unique thing. We can add those things on. If you decide that you don't want to do lunch on your own in Carcross at the bistro or something like that, we can arrange for a caterer to cater your lunch for you, and then you deal with that. We just give you the list. You order it directly through them. I pick it up before I pick you up, and we go off, and we've got your lunch ready for you. So that way, if you have snacks or something like that, especially people traveling with smaller kids that get cranky or hangry, you might want us to have some snacks available for them, because it's very hard for you to bring things on and off the cruise ship. And we don't have a 7-Eleven just down the road. So, and you might want them to have, they're used to having vegetables or special diets, that kind of thing. We even accommodate different allergies. We just had a child that had a peanut allergy. So we were very, very quick to go through, clean the vehicles, and make sure that when they ordered food, that there was that those allergy requirements were met. So it's really kind of cool.
No, great. I will definitely check that out. But Alaska sounds fantastic. I'm super excited to go
So one
there.
thing is, when you do call, please let them know that you heard about it from, of course, your podcast. That's the most important thing. We want to hear that. And you can always go to, I'll remind everybody again, beyondskagwaytours.com to get more information and learn about the tours, learn about the area. Or you can give us a call at 907-612-0499. And we'd love to help you out.
Can you repeat that again? Because you kind of broke up there with the signal. So give us that number again, and give us the website again, because I want to make sure that we accurately plug you guys.
BeyondSkagwayTours.com. And our phone number is 907-612-0499.
Perfect. Well, is there any questions that you guys had for Chad about Alaska or anything else? I mean, we've seen the beautiful scenery, we've seen the beautiful town of Skagway. What are your guys' questions?
No questions. I like that, again, that you've got that small town that people can go and explore. Visited Ireland, and sure, it was great to see all the big cities. But if you told me I could spend a day in Dingle and have the greatest time ever checking out all the local shops, it was amazing. And I encourage folks to look into the big excursions, but see what the local flair is, and check out Skagway, and it's taking the local flair, eat with the local people, and talk. I'm sure they love sharing their experiences and love sharing the history of the town, and you become many local celebrities, and you got people coming from all over the world, and this might be your only chance to ever go to Alaska. So
see one of only 4 Welcome to Alaska signs in the whole state of Alaska.
Well, Chad, it's been absolutely incredible to have you on the show. This has been an absolutely incredible show. Skagway is, and doing the research for the show was fun, learning about some of the history and, the gold rush and everything else, that was a part of, or that made Skagway kind of what it is. So it was very interesting to see that. So, is there any final things that you want to say about Skagway or about the cruises, or anything else that you want to say before we kind of wrap this up here?
The most important thing is that, travel is so important now more than ever because it brings so many people together. And whether you're booking, for next year or you're planning for 2 or 3 years out, use a travel agent, use somebody that that you trust, and form that partnership. Also, travel agent alerts. Call us. We have a travel agent referral program. I forgot about that. Call Meg in the office, and we do give a very generous commission to travel agents. That's something that we did start up this year. We want to partner with travel agents, and we actually have 2 or 3 already signed up, but we love travel agents. So call us, book us, have fun.
what's a good time of the year to visit Alaska then?
That's a good question. So early spring, you're going to have less crowds. You're going to see a lot more snow. Come June, all the schools are out, so it's going to be packed. But to see Alaska with snow on the mountains, but then being warmer, and seeing no snow in a lot of areas, and be able to actually walk down into some of the puddles that don't have any fish because it's just literally snow melt. One of the things we do, actually, this is it right here for those of you that aren't online watching. I'm actually drinking fresh glacier water. I literally walk up to a mountain, put my cup underneath the glacier, and I'm drinking it. And yes, just like Disney, we do sell our very own thermoses.
I'm going to need you to bring some of that back to Florida.
It's amazing, guys. But thank you so much for your time, and thank you for inviting me. It's been awesome getting to spend some time with you guys and your listeners.
So I know, Chad, that you are a big theme park fan like the rest of us here. You love Disney, you love Universal, you love SeaWorld, Busch Gardens. So I have to ask, I know you're having a blast in Alaska, but do you miss the theme parks?
What do you think?
Okay.
I am watching videos all day long in my free time, and keeping
Did you
up
watch
with
the
all the
POV
drama. I mean,
for Tiana's?
nope. I'm
Okay.
still a little bitter. I'm not gonna lie. I'm bitter. But I just, but I'm really looking forward to Epic. I'm really looking forward to things. It was great listening to you talk about, Volcano Bay, because, working for Universal, I know how hard those people work to try to give the guest experience.
Mhm.
There's always going to be things that fall between the cracks and stuff, but it's great to see. And I think that there's a mouse down the road that can learn a lot from that woodpecker that is Universal Studios. Just
Well,
my
the woodpecker's gone now. Now it's a troll.
I know. The woodpecker needed a bigger boat. But no,
Yeah,
I do miss the parks, and I will be home just in time. Well, probably after Halloween Horror Nights has started. So I should be back probably the second week in September is what it's looking like. Let me go back to that. later in the season, guys. The last Disney ship is September 19th. Some of the companies are booking cruises right up until mid-October. If you want to come to Skagway, that September 19th is even pushing it. We are known as the Windy City, and when the winds start coming down the bay, some of those cruise ships just can't make it. The winds here are really crazy, and so they kind of turn around at Haynes and go, oh, we'll go to Haynes, or we'll spend a day at sea. But definitely that would be my only caveat to that, because we've got a lot of great Norwegian comes, Carnival comes. There's a price to come to Alaska for every family. Again, it doesn't have to be just Disney and theme park-esque. A lot of great cruise ships right now are doing a lot of family vacations. We joke about me being Diamond, but I talked to quite a few families that are on a budget, even coming off of Carnival. I had one family that spent less than $2,500 because they booked so far in advance to come to Alaska for a family of 4. Try to go to a theme park and eat for 7 days and have a hotel for that kind of money. So, it's affordable, it's fun, it's exciting, and you only unpack once.
Well, that is awesome. It sounds incredible. The photos look incredible. Everything looks incredible. Again, Chad, we definitely thank you for joining us on this week's show and giving us that, putting us in the picture and putting us in Alaska. And hopefully those of you that are listening out there, we want you to, to look them up. One more time for me. Can you plug the website and the phone number for me, just so everyone has it?
Shameless plug here, beyondskagwaytours.com. And you're going to give us a call at the office at 907-612-0499. And you can tell them that you heard it here, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's show. I want to thank my team for joining us. Do you guys have anything to say before we wrap up, guys?
No, thank you for sharing about Alaska. So excited to go there next year, and I'll check out your website and see the beauty of Skagway.
Awesome.
And I just want to let out one housekeeping note, because I gotta say this because I'm so jealous. Our lovely host from California, Luella, is not going to be here next week. Would you like to tell us why you're not going to be here?
Oh,
because we're all jealous.
Oh gosh. Well, I always love to be here and chat on Tuesday, all things Disney, but I was able to snag some early preview of Inside Out 2. And I have my own teenager, so that's why I was saying, we'll see how close to home this is. But yeah, if I'm missing a talk about Disney, it's because I'm doing something Disney.
I am extremely jealous that you are doing that. I'm going to a premiere for that, so that is really awesome. I made that comment out of pure jealousy. You told me that earlier. I was like, I want to do
Well, it's not
that.
the red carpet premiere; it's a early screening. So
Okay, well, early screening still, you get to see Inside Out 2, which Inside Out is one of my favorite Disney films. Regardless, it's still pretty awesome in my book. Michael, did you have anything to say before we close out? His camera keeps
Look forward to it. I really appreciate your time tonight, and thanks for coming on. It's something that people don't get to hear. So this was really, really an awesome show. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so that's going to do it for this week's show, guys. We definitely thank you for being with us here this week and joining us on this amazing episode of Mouse Minds. I want to thank my amazing hosts for joining us this week, Lisa, Luella, Michael, and of course our guest this week, Chad, for joining us all the way from Alaska. I'm extremely shocked his internet is still working. I maybe it's just in my head because I don't know. I just think of Alaska as the Great North, and there's snow, and how they have anything up there is beyond me. I'm just kidding, Chad. I'm just kidding.
Well, we're finally getting signal because the ships are starting to pull out. That's what happens. We start getting better internet service.
There you go. All right. Well,
the moose walking really, really fast on the treadmill to generate enough power to be able to broadcast all the way out here.
See, now that's exactly in my head how I think they get electric.
What's going on, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this week's show. I want to thank everyone that joined us in the live feed this week. As always, you can find us on the Disney and Beyond channel on YouTube every Tuesday at 8:30 live on YouTube. And you can catch us on our Mouse Minds Facebook channel live as well, our Facebook page. I also stream on my personal Facebook as well. Yeah, we'll be in the parks this week. I will work this week on getting some more social media for us so you guys can see what I'm up to, because I'm always up to something, as you guys can tell. Right now it's been pretty heavily universal focused, but I'll get an Instagram or something going so I can share those photos with you guys and I'll let you know what we're up to. But that's gonna do it for this week's show. As I always say, if you can dream it, you can do it. And that's going to be the end for this week. And we will see you guys next week. And uh, don't forget to listen every Friday at 5 p.m. on your favorite podcasting platform. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Bye now.
Bye-bye.